Welcome to Storytime. Enjoy with me. Lisa in China, Part 2.
For Lisa's last day in Beijing, Hu Tian and Mei have a special surprise for her. They decide to take their friend on a short trip.
Where are we going?
Asks Lisa at the bus station.
We can't tell you. It's a surprise,
Says Hu Tian with a grin.
Yes, you'll see when we get there.
Says Mei with a giggle.
Now, let's get on the bus.
The scenery changes outside the bus window. The tall skyscrapers and cars of the city soon give way to smaller buildings and fewer cars, until there are only endless golden fields.
Where are we going?
Lisa wonders. Then she looks outside the window and suddenly realizes.
Wow! The Great Wall of China! One of the greatest wonders of the world!
She exclaims.
How long is it anyway?
She asks her friends.
The Great Wall of China is 8,851.8 kilometers, or 5,500 miles long.
Hu Tian says proudly.
And it's more than 2,000 years old.
He continues.
The Emperor Qin Shi Huang of the Qin dynasty started the wall around 221 BC.
Adds Mei.
But work continued during the Han and until the Ming dynasty in the 14th century.
She says.
Thousands, if not millions of people worked day and night to finish the wall.
It's very impressive,
Says Lisa, as the three walk to the closest part of the Great Wall. It is on a steep hill.
This is a beautiful walk, but it is harder than it looks.
Lisa says, stopping to catch her breath.
Don't worry,
Hu Tian replies.
you will be able to relax later.
What do you mean?
She asks.
It's another surprise.
Hu Tian says, smiling.
A whole day of surprises? This is so much fun! You two are great.
Lisa says as she takes photos of her new friends and the Great Wall.
Now say cheese!
A little later, Hu Tian and Mei look at Lisa and smile.
It is time to show you a different China.
Says Hu Tian.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm sure it's going to be another great experience.
Lisa says, smiling back. Another bus takes them beyond the fields until they reach a small farming village. They get off and see an elderly man and woman.
Ni hao.
They greet the three friends in Chinese.
Hello.
Says Lisa, and then turns to Hu Tian and Mei.
They are our aunt and uncle.
Says Mei.
They don't speak English, but they are very friendly.
Then they all walk down a small road with gates and walls on all sides. They enter one of the gateways.
This is our aunt and uncle's house. It is very traditional.
Says Mei. Next, they all sit down and have tea together.
Tea is very important in Chinese culture.
Explains Mei.
Chinese people drink a lot of tea, and we also celebrate a number of occasions with tea ceremonies.
Oh, good.
Smiles Lisa.
I love tea. It's my favorite drink.
On their way back a few hours later, Lisa remarks,
It was so exciting to see what life is like for people in the countryside. It is very different from the busy Beijing life.
Well, a lot of Chinese still live in villages like that, not cities.
Explains Hu Tian.
What do you think of life in the village?
The village is quieter and the countryside around it is very beautiful. However, there is more technology in the city and more things to do than in the village.
Says Lisa thoughtfully.
I guess that city life and village life are both nice, but in different ways.
The next stop on Lisa's trip is even more interesting. After getting a good night's sleep on the train from Beijing to Xi'an, Lisa, May, and Hu Tian go to see the Terracotta Army. They take a guided tour of the ancient site.
The Terracotta's soldiers' purpose was to protect Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, after his death. His tomb has about 8,000 clay soldiers surrounding it. It is a truly amazing sight,
says the guide.
I've seen nothing like this before,
Whispers Lisa into May's ear.
They look alike, but they are all different.
Each soldier's face is unique.
The guide continues.
The soldiers are as tall as real people, and they had swords, knives, crossbows, and other weapons. Surprisingly, all these were as sharp as new. According to their roles, the height of the soldiers varies. The tallest are the generals, and you'll also find officials, warriors, chariots, horses, even acrobats and musicians. Some of them have missing parts, and others are still in the dirt. However, some of the soldiers are in very good shape and seem new, as you can see,
says the guide.
I wonder how many people had to work to make this army.
Lisa whispers, and the guide hears her.
According to Sima Qian, an ancient historian, more than 700,000 workers worked on the emperor's tomb for about 38 years.
He explains.
Wow! Amazing!
Exclaims Lisa.
But where is the tomb?
The tomb is still a mystery,
adds the guide.
Archaeologists have found the tomb, but they have not opened it yet.
No, why not?
Asks Lisa.
Surely there will be lots of treasures inside.
Well,
says the man,
that's what Sima Qian's book says, but archaeologists are worried that they might damage the valuable objects inside the tomb.
I see,
says Lisa.
There is something else too,
adds Hu Tian.
There are traps inside the tomb. Dangerous traps. To prevent tomb raiders from stealing the treasures inside. At least, that's what the legend says.
Oh, it's such an interesting story. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Lisa smiles.
With or without the treasures from the Emperor's tomb, this place is fantastic.
The next day, Lisa, May, and Hu Tian go to Shanghai on another overnight train. The first place to visit is an area called the Bund. It's a lively place by the Huangpu River, full of beautiful historical buildings. They walk down a street called Nanjing Road, the main street of the Bund, and have lunch at a restaurant. Lisa tries Shanghai crispy chicken, and she finds it delicious.
I'm really getting used to using chopsticks. It's actually a lot of fun.
Lisa says excitedly. After lunch, they walk a few blocks to the Yu Garden in Shanghai's old city. It is a traditional Chinese garden with beautiful old buildings called pagodas. It is very large and they take their time exploring it. There are various trees and rocks and small ponds with bridges. Ducks and fish are swimming in the water, and there are dragons on the walls.
The trees, plants and flowers are so pretty, and it's so peaceful here.
Lisa admires.
It is the perfect place to walk around. It makes you feel you are at one with nature.
Well, that is exactly what the Chinese garden is about.
Says May.
Here one can escape from the busy daily routine and have some time to themselves.
After a pleasant walk through the Yu Garden, May and Hu Tian take Lisa to the Yu Market right outside.
The Yu Market is so noisy and busy with people.
Lisa exclaims.
It suddenly feels like we're in a different city.
Of course it's noisy.
Says May.
Shanghai has the largest population in China.
Lisa has fun choosing a few traditional gifts. A pearl necklace for her mother, chopsticks for all her family, and a beautiful silk dress for herself. Then she asks May,
I want to get something special for my friend Ellie. What do you suggest?
May points to some Chinese silk scarves.
How about one of those? Chinese silk is famous worldwide.
Great, Ellie will love it.
Lisa says enthusiastically as she buys the scarf.
To be continued.